Have you ever wondered about past life regressions? Is it even true? Do we have past lives? What does it mean from a spiritual perspective and science perspective? Well, if you want to dive into how your ancestor lineage, their trauma, their limited beliefs, their identity, and all the negative stuff patterns are playing out in your life, you definitely want to watch this podcast or listen to this podcast, whichever one. Welcome to the Dr. Erin Show. May you live your truth. Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Erin, Dr. Divinity and Master Spiritual Coach. And guess what? We are on a series of E4 method. Heal your past, empower your present, and manifest your future higher self. And this one today, we're going to be diving into past life regressions. Obviously, heal your past still. We're on that one. So before we get there, I just want to say I'm so excited because we officially have opened up Soulciété membership. You can check out the link below, become a founding member, and we're going to just so excited to take truth to the world together and really have people rise up in the community. It is a lifelong dream, and we are doing it, you guys. Okay, so let's dive into today. So this is the weekly Soul Week energy update. And each week we come together to decode the deeper questions of spiritual psychology coaching and how to align with universal law and how to activate the source energy within. And one of the core teachings that we do in the school is E4 method. It's a method that was developed over many, many years of all kinds of processes, but really got downloaded into my consciousness from source into 4 steps to really truly heal your past, empower your present, and manifest your future highest self. So today we're going to be going over past life regressions. We're also going to be going over this week's universal law lesson of the week. There's only one universal law. It's the law of cause and effect. But this week it's distinctions because we have 52 for each week of the year, which is universal law of truth. And then we're going to do a spiritual mind treatment, AKA a scientific prayer. So I wanted to begin with my personal journey into past life regressions. And it was really a fascinating thing. So I always wondered, do we have past lives? What's the meaning of life? What's our spiritual nature? And as I began to dive more and more into consciousness and understand consciousness is creating everything. And truly from a spiritual perspective, there is no such thing as the past or future. There's only now. And so how's that playing out from our, quote, quote, past lives or ancestors in today's, right here, right now in the present? So what happened is years ago, about 20 years ago, I began my journey into past life regressions. I was working with a mentor, doing all kinds of work from, shamanist work to science of mind work to metaphysics to all different types of modalities. Never through medicines. I'm a purist at heart. But I began to dive into past life regressions and I began to go into, experiences in past lives. And it was mind blowing because I didn't know history. I never liked that in class. And I'd go into these sessions and I would begin to remember details, like specific details, exactly what was happening, exact dates, everything. And I'd come out of session and I would Google and I research and I go, oh my gosh, that was absolutely true what I saw in consciousness. And so I began to really get mind blown by the whole thing and really began to dive deeper and deeper into what are past lives, what is past life regressions and what's really going on from a metaphysical standpoint, right? So I wanted to share another story before I get into all that stuff. So a few years back, it was really fascinating because after doing so many past life regressions for so many years, I can track a lot of things going on. So one day I was in London. I had never been to London. A lot of my roots are in England. I have a lot of English in me. And I was only there for a few days and I was seeing some clients. I was kind of breezing through and I had one day that I'd marked off my calendar to go travel around the city and just check it out. But it was pouring rain. So I was like, darn, it's pouring rain. There's no way I'm going to be walking around with an umbrella. It was really raining hard. So I thought, well, I'm going to splurge and I'm going to hire a driver and I'm going to go around for just a few hours and see London so I can feel like I, at least saw some of it. So we're driving through the city and I start feeling like I'm having all this past life come up. And we go drive by, a few different places. And we drive by one place, I believe it's called the London Tower. And all of a sudden I had this knowingness. And I was like, oh, I was burned at the stake there. in a past life. And I was like, okay, this is really weird. Like, is this real? Is this not real? Right? Well, I need confirmation. So I asked the driver, could I please just take a little bit of time and go inside this one thing? He said, no problem. He pulled over and I go up to the ticket booth and I say, yeah, ma'am, where were the witches burned at the stake here? And she goes, no, 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 that wasn't here. That was down the road at this other historical place. And I said, no, 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 it's here. And I walked in and I was like, huh, how am I going to figure this out? I like knew this was what had happened. So I went up into this one tower and there was this one gentleman teaching all these young kids, talking about the men and all these kind of famous people that were tortured in there for all the hearsay and all their spiritual work. So I kind of like waited and I was kind of listening to him. And then they took a little break and he said, take, 10 minutes to all the kids and come back and we'll recap. So I went up to him and I said, sir, I'm so sorry. Do you know if there was ever any women burned at the stake here? And he said, yes, there was one woman that was burned at the stake here. And I said, what was her name? He said, Anne Askell. My name is Erin Haskell. And I went, what was her name? Anne Askell. And I was like, what? And it was just such a bizarre, weird thing. So I go on to, research, and she was the one woman that was burned at the stake and tortured there. Really, it was a very, very sad story. But basically, she was preaching truth on the streets and had left her husband. And at that point in time, you couldn't do that. And so she was tortured and burned at the stake. So whether that is my past life or not, it doesn't matter. So as we get into past lives and what I've come to realize through the E4 and taking so many clients through past life regressions. I've been doing past life regressions for over 10 years now with clients, and it's mind blowing. It's really, really, really mind blowing. In fact, it's more intense and does more than even current life trauma work. A lot of times people go into past life and they begin to do their trauma work, E4 trauma work, and they realize that these identities and their negative commands have been playing out in their total identity in this lifetime. A prime example, not going into too much detail, but there was a client this week in class, and she has this ongoing thing where she pulls circumstances in where she has to always fight for equality and fight for children. She calls in all kinds of different situations. So as we went into a past life regression and she realized she had had a big trauma around saving these children in a past life, she realized that she can still stand for equality in this lifetime, but she doesn't have to call in so many situations to be able, she's not no like the effect of it. She's now can choose to do it instead of having it just automatically happen from a subconscious energetic programming. So, what's the difference? What's the difference between E4 method past life regressions and other past life regressions? There's some great work out there. Dolores Cannon, there's a lot of people that do incredible work around past life regressions. And it's wonderful to discover the truth and discover, your oneness and discover your past lives and things. E4 is different. E4, we go in and we're not only just having revelation of really our true nature spiritually, but number one, what it's doing, it is healing the trauma. So we go back and we actually do E4, just like you can listen to E4 and all the steps in the other sequence in the series of podcasts on E4. But we go into the mental pictures of those past life images because we're in a mental universe. And you go in and you scan over the four steps of E4 and you neutralize the negative charge. And you're also releasing the negative commands and also the negative tags on your epigenetics. So E4 does quantum healing. That's really what it's doing. It's doing quantum trauma work. The second thing that E4 past life regressions does versus other past life regressions is it burrs the soul's purpose. Because when you actually neutralize the trauma and when you actually transform that trauma into your triumph, you turn that pain into your purpose. Every time I work with a client, it burrs this deeper and deeper soul's purpose for the clients. And so in this, it's really a process just like E4 going in and neutralizing it. And this is the deal, okay? We're all past lives. We have all of our ancestor memory, the good and bad, in our epigenetics of our DNA, and our epigenetics, our DNA is connected to all DNA and everything of the universe. We know that through quantum entanglement and the Nobel Peace Prize of recognizing that this is a true scientific based fact now, okay? That you are all past lives. And so the in phenomenon of past life regressions is not only birthing your soul's purpose and having freedom and more liberation and just feeling more joy and choice in your life, but it's really full enlightenment. It's enlightenment to realize that you are all past lives. And what I've found working with clients is they'll pull up the same mental pictures, things like being burned at the stake as a witch, which is really common for women and men that want to be doing spiritual work and teaching and leading and helping transform lives. Very common to pull that up on the track. So it doesn't mean it actually happened in your DNA or not. It means that it is something that you're identifying and that you're pulling in that energetic, and you're here to complete that karmic cycle. Okay. So in that, I'm just knowing the most amazing, incredible revelations for everyone. And if you're somebody who wants to come in and get, do your past life regressions, you can simply come into the SPPC program. You don't even have to get certified if you don't want. Many people come in and get certified, but lots of people just come in just to do their inner work and do all their trauma work and do all the revelation and learn universal law and spiritual psychology and do past life regressions and learn E4 quantum manifesting as well. So beyond that, I want to actually take us now into this week's universal law lesson of this week. So there's only one universal law. It's the law of oneness, the law of cause and effect, whatever you want to call it, but we have distinctions each week. So this week, the distinction is the universal law of truth. So we first have to just define what is truth. Well, there's ultimate truth and there's relative truth. Ultimate truth is that you're eternal, you're immortal. Energy cannot be destroyed. We're all one, right? These are eternal truths, okay? The truth is that everything comes from spirit source, the I am, that is the truth, how it works and everything. The relative truth is I'm a morning person versus I'm a night person, right? Or, hey, I choose to be somebody who doesn't drink and that's my truth versus I'm somebody that drinks, right? There's nothing right or wrong from a relative perspective. Somebody chooses to be monogamous, somebody chooses to have an open relationship. That's a relative truth. But the truth is that there's oneness. The truth is that there are, the energetics and how it work. So the universal law of truth states that there's truth within you, that you are truth, that who you are is truth, that at the core of every molecule and cell of your beingness is the infinite well of the universe, the I am, the God source. That's the truth. And that no matter what you're dealing with, no matter how hard things are, no matter what dis-ease or relationship issues or money problems, that there's a source and an intelligence and a wisdom in you that can solve all problems, that is eternal, that is all powerful, all knowing, omnipotent presence. And that is the truth. And so in this, let's just take a deep breath together. Just taking a deep breath together. We do this because there's something like 70,000 nerve endings on the ends of your hands, and we're connecting the right and left hemisphere of the brain, and we're connecting the heart with the head into this oneness, into this divine presence. Just taking another deep breath in, exhaling out, and just knowing the truth, stating the truth, knowing that my word creates. My word, as I speak truth into my subconscious and into the super consciousness and into all of life, it creates. Every word, every thought, everything, all my beliefs, my identity creates instantaneously. And in this divine moment, I recognize that there's one life, one presence, one divine intelligence, and it's me, it's the I am. I recognize right here that I am the sacred truth, that this is truth. Every cell is truth. My word is truth. Everything. I declare and accept truth as my liberation, that as I remember the truth of who I am, my oneness, my allness, my greatness, as I remember all past lives are mine, that I get to stand on the great shoulders of the greatest, and I have the responsibility of all trauma anywhere I've been divided in mind and hand my power over to the external world. I claim my truth because I am truth, and I restore it by the power of my word, and I restore it for everyone listening or watching in right now. May they remember who they are. May they align to the divine truth, that whatever they put their mind to, wherever they focus on, they create. And so I know as they resist something, they're creating more of that resistance. As they create in the flow state and what they truly are committed to creating, that is going to flow exponentially. Who they be in their embodiment will reflect back exponentially. What they give they'll be receiving. How they love, they will be receiving love back. What they give in their health and vitality, it will reflect back. And we have all the karma of all lifetimes. So if we're experiencing the division, it is ours to do. I recognize this is truth, and truth heals. As a doctor of divinity, we are considered doctors because we heal through revealing the truth. And so I know absolute liberation, absolute prosperity, absolute vitality, as together we say, and so it is. And so it is. Okay, you guys, you can get in below. You can grab the free universal law calendar. It'll go right on your calendar. Every week on Sunday, you'll have the lesson. And then you can also come in and get the newsletter, come in here, watch or listen to the podcast every week. And if you're ready to take it to the next level and want support and community, you can come into Soulciété. We're officially opened, doing a soft launch, but all founding member pricing right now, incredible. If you want to get into doing the deeper work, you can come into SPPC. And if you want to get accredited, you can come into the accredited program as well and rise up into becoming a teacher within the school. Have a beautiful, blessed day, and may you live the truth.